So basically, let's take for instance that Mono asked me to say, Mbaki, let a gig rangu, to my speakers, maybe the microphone and stuff like that. And then, under normal circumstances, Mono should have the courtesy of badara for logistics, just the logistics expenses, you understand? And sometimes because of friendship, your word can be your bond. Which you go to papo. You need I've got a habit. I can't out in the gig rako. You know, eco cash in bag, zip it, dress ripo. You can find me any current package. At least cater for my what? Yeah. For my thing. I'll give you an example. Right my event na Derek Pavali. I got a hamburger and tight. Ndine $50. Sida going to bindura. You understand? And they're just like, he became open and so transparent. They're like, okay, I still have a few things. Like, besides, I need a road trip. You understand? Gig nema tops, nema nangiri DJs. So I think the culture of people having terms, specific written, or maybe if you've got a relationship, your word can be really a bond. That's something that people really need to cultivate. And you'd be surprised that the moment us as artists, I'm not only talking about musicians, but people within the arts sector, the moment you start contractualizing things, the corporate begins to follow suit. Because what happens, if I run a studio, Mono runs a studio, you have a studio here, and then FBC or another company comes and says, we need a voiceover done. And then you just say, okay, give me $300. Mono then takes a receipt book and says, okay, tax and everything, and your voiceover going to go $500. They won't come to Mono. They rather say, I'm going to draw 200. You understand? So I think it's a culture that all of us need to activate. And I use the word activate deliberately because it's something that is dormant. So if we all, whether they're playing at the club A or club B or club something, just have a small little half a page thing. Guys, okay, we need all payment upfront. We need a changing room. We need 10 bottles of water. We need Coca-Cola. Our event starts a thing. We're not going to overlap after 11 o'clock. Something basic like that. People begin to take you seriously. And the moment it does that, the showbiz is so small. They'll say, if you go to Chimsoro, he'll give you a contract for you to work with, but he delivers. He'll give you what because at the end of the day, everybody needs a certain sense of security. You understand? So I think really the terms of contracts, even though they vary from person to person, the nature of the business, I think it just needs to be activated eventually.
We're trying to define terms. It's important that we define terms because when we define terms and we have a contract that is written down, it helps us to prepare what we call a bill of materials. A bill of quantities. That takes into consideration the crew, the people that you are working with, the transportation, all those things. Because and many of the events that I've done, especially in my churches, especially within our church community, it's my biggest thing that I face is when people come to me and they start calling me a man of God. I know exactly what is coming.
For us, they say, my son.
And then here's what happens. They say, God has spoken to us and told us that you are going to do our event. Then I'll say, that's wonderful. That's between you and God. God knows my address. I'm going to ask God to speak to me also directly. Because what's happening is, the people that we work with, they don't pay rent with thank you. They don't pay rent by, good intentions. These are real bills that have to be paid. So we want to make sure things are defined so that they know what to expect. We have 10 guys that are going to come. We have 10 loaders. We have got 10 technicians. We have got electricians. We have got my drivers that are coming with sound equipment. You want an event, we are expecting 10,000 people. 10,000 people, as you said, it requires a bigger sound system than what we would use for 500 people, which means the manpower that is required for that is more. So we would rather have things defined so that there's no false expectations on both sides. So we need to have so if I say to Mono, you're also the player, the Kumbira would also play. Mono is going to put together a band. Why should I expect Mono to pay out of his pocket for the drummer, for the bassist, for the keyboardist, we should define terms and
yeah, nyema contracts pane nyaya manje because I think muno muZimbabwe mune an anti-contract problem, a contract phobia problem. Because you find kuti pese pauno mention kuti kune munhu ruda kuitira basa kuti ungangomenshina nyaya contract chete, it's either anogona kutongoti I will call you back and disappear. I still remember a friend of mine akajoin a certain band. Vari muprocess yemani green but alright, I'll bring my contract tinyorane pasi chichi angonzi will call you back, and that was that. So I find even in my band a lot of issues when it comes to nyaya dzemari and everything. And kuti ukangomention nyaya contract, you are out. And you are treated as a band when it comes to mabasa, a band per commitment. But when it comes to mari and everything, you are treated as a session musician. Ukada always mention up a contract wanigrino watu kicked out. Then secondly, you mentioned nyaya ukama, yokunzi men of God my titles ye ukama wayo. MuZimbabwe ukangoona wakungoiswa muzoni yeukama zoti zvoda kubenefita ari kutaura wacho akakuti iwe uri munin'ina wangu. The funny thing ndeyekuti munhu wausingazivi nozovanoti iwe ndakuziva for some time ukati blazi wangu chichi zvinonzwisika bhozi kaukama kacho karipo kwete munhu andatanga kuona nawo zati but uri munin'ina wangu haunganizwira utsidzi fanira kuti ukama hwacho it's always one sided unongobenefita ari kuda kubhadhara chete ona. Then another thing iri kumacorporates ndokumwe kunonesa nyaya dzemacontracts. Ufanira kuti macorporates every time ukanzwa vachitaura nyaya yeprofessionalism it's just to their benefit only, kwete kwauri iwo. Because uona kuti ukaita navo majobs they want it done as soon as yesterday, but pamari they want to pay you pavanodira. There's a lot of bureaucracy, there's a lot of red tape when it comes to paying you. Nungauzwanza arifana usaina pana ari kubulawayo pana ari kwakati munotendedzwa munzifambire kwaka. So right now I've made it a point kuti ndinotogadzira yangu contract nditaura kuti hapana basa rinoitwa musati mabvisa half down. Saka vazhinji vamba vataura kuti no, isusu wedu mutemo ndewekuti munotanga mashanda tonzwa kuti zviri kubuda here chichi ndo andarodza kuti iwo ndewenyu. Wangu mutemo unoti munotanga mabvisa half the amount tutanga kushanda. Then as we work,
funny mono is how do they eventually get to work with you? That means they've heard what you've done. So why do they have to say
because I remember that one akafona ngari mukadzi so and akafona zviya zvine command zviya zvokuti even paitaura nene mamusina kana element of respect or anything zvanhu zviri zvekutokomanda kuti hamene kuti ajera kushanda navanhu vakaita sei, want you to do this, it was ndikati no, you have to pay a deposit. Ndiye angataura kuti kwedu kuno kumutemo wedu ndati no, iwo ndewenyu, wangu mutemo. Because ni ukauya wine attitude yangu inokwirawo futi totanga kushanda on the same level. Zvikanzi ningirini hatizivi kuti munogona sei, ndati saka why did you call me? It means you are incompetent because you are supposed to do your research first. Zvikanzi no, tunotanga tacheka futi kuti macontracts tokombeya maquotation. That's why you get ningiri majobs ari half done because muno muZimbabwe mune system yekuti hanzi tipei 3 maquotation totsvaga the cheapest. But that's a very stupid and foolish ningirini because zvakachipa zvese zvinodhura. Because ukaona munhu wese ari kuchipisa ari kutochipisa for a reason. Music industry kana entertainment industry chese chinodhura for a reason. Ona saka imi kana muri kutsvaga the cheapest ka imi muri kutotsvagawo futi asingagone basa the waste pa list yenyu. Ona so that's another problem futi with anonzi ma corporates. Then the last problem yandoda kutaura ndiye vanhu vasingaverengi wokuti munogona kubvumirana anongomhanya kusaina haana kuverenga wozoona exactly zvamakabvumirana apa ndozvaari kuita ushamusati ko zvamuri kuita apa ingwani takabvumirana pakati wazondibiridzira pakati no ingwani zviripo pacontract wana auzonoverenga but pakusaina akaita se akamhanya. Remember the other time pane materms andinoisa andakaseva muwhatsapp ekuti unongotumira munhu yakatosevwa daro. Sa munhu akanditi ndoda kurekodha ikoko ndowana kuti onzwa munhu akuti but inasimbonzwisa zvamuri kutaura ingwani zviri clear wanu kuti studio time mari yakati handisikumbonzwisisa omutsanangura futi handisikumbonzwisisa kuti saka why did I waste time ndinyora zipeji rese iri usiri kuverenga. So those are some of the issues. I think to sum it up, we just have a contract phobia in Zimbabwe, and you inofana kupera.
Yeah. So
I think one of the industries which is actually embracing Nyema contracts is actually the wedding industry. I think this is what we need to really protect ourselves. Because some of the wedding sites, the tag shooter, think that it's wedding maybe 8 or 9. Like Sika Mangwa. Now the contract now helps us with for every hour additional we charge this whatever. Good one. And I think the wedding industry is now very, very formalized. And people actually accept Nyema contracts. Kutokunda among my corporates and stuff. We always breach some of the terms.
In India, my wedding, edit is going my wedding for 9 months. Ichiramba chichinjwa apa tira kuchinja chakati tete takangazona tete vangu vazi mune tepe rina tetere tira kuti tete wapinziwo munenge mame apa mara haisi kuchinjwa ba so pane nyaya ndira kuti nditaure muchatori ngoriwo ndamunotapinda kwakawanda anyway pane nyaya yatasangana nayo tese ndira kuti ndingo address so we have all done my events my churches right so I do a lot of conferences. I've done a lot of conferences. I'm asked, but the pastors come here, right? They all, we want to do this, we want to do video, we want to do sound, to the light, to the screens, to the receiver. All right, now let's be very clear. Let us be very, I want to define things and make things very clear. We're going to need to have my production meetings. What is a production meeting? I try to work at a pass because we don't have this culture in the churches. We need to define our expectations. What do you want? What are you looking for? Then I say, here's a statement where I always take them by surprise. Okay, I want to know who your technical person is in your church. Who is the head of tech or Cheshananaye? And so both you're asking us to come. So do you want me to speak to them as a pastor or you want me to speak to them as a technician? Because in our churches, my conferences, no sound checks, no line checks, nothing. And when they open the meeting, that's when you are actually starting to hear the band for the very first time. Then when we do my post-mortems, like you said, the engineers, they're always the bad people. The technicians are always the bad people. I had a church come in and I said, I'll give you equipment. Do you have people to operate the equipment? They wanted to cut costs. I said, you want to cut costs, right? Fine. So if you want to cut costs, I'll give you the equipment. But you're going to have your people come here so we can train them how to use the equipment. No one came for a single day. I said, where are you? Oh, yeah, we will learn on the spot. I said, you want me to mix for you, at the same time try and train your people for you? I can't do that. I cannot be able to do that. And I said, here's the equipment that you asked it for. Boom, boom, boom. No one came. The event starts. I ended up putting people to operate that part of the equipment. When everything is moving, they replace one. We want our people to operate the equipment. I said, your people are going to operate the equipment, then you're going to get your product, your way, your quality. Everything just drops, dropper. The post-mortem, you start getting bashed. And then, again, one other thing. They will make my announcements. Thank God the budget was met, everything is met, God has supplied for all our needs according to his riches in glory and everything. But the sound people have not been paid. But you're giving a testimony in front of everyone that God has met all our needs. What about the needs of the production team? So it's not evil, it's not demonic to pay the people, the service providers.
Or to demand your money.
Exactly, yeah. You know, one pastor told me, point blank to my face, he told me point blank. I'm like, what we are trying to do is to help your people. As long as you speak like that, your people are going to follow the same culture.
True.
Because they are not going to treasure or to cautious the quality. Calendar yenyu, I'm school respecter. Contracting, I'm school respecter. Definition of terms, I'm school respecter. But you're expecting us to work miracles for this. So we want to try and help. If you want, like Mbaki, you're a trainer.
Yeah.
What do churches or organizations need to do to afford to advance training to their personnel so that they can be in-house sufficient? Yes. But what do they need to do?
You know, do you know that the issue of churches, I, for one, am a pastor's kid.
Yes.
Right? And there's some things that I've seen in houses of worship that are really... God's favorite sound engineer.
They are very spoiled.
One of my spoiled here. We shall meet after the camera. So I think one of all right. So I think one of the things that happens a lot in houses of worship, I'm avoiding the word churches deliberately.
Yeah.
But in houses of worship is technical people have no say.
No.
Totally. As long as it's namari, your word is worthless.
Yeah.
Simple survey.
Yeah.
Let's look at the arts and media in church.
Yeah.
Who is always the last person to get married? Is it not the soundman?
Yeah.
Who usually has no girlfriend?
Forest.
Who usually dresses the worst? Who usually gets appreciated last or even never? How many times has someone, hey, no, sorry, it's a keyboard, oh, $5 in Angirikiri. But has a soundman ever been saying, my guy's sound was nice today? Omari takes you in a room. If there is one that's there, please put it on the comment section. It's not there. So most of the times is pastors are the problem. Decision makers are the major problem. Because in Nandipeke Sutu, that means Rumsoro Mango has no value. Most of the times the issue here at church, bad sound in church, does not start with the equipment. It starts with the venue itself. If you build a venue subject to the engineer like the Roman Catholics did, right? You have a definite sound. Instead of spending 20,000 on PA system, you can spend 2,000 because the auditorium was built right. You've got, look at these 12-inch tops right over here. You can use them at Reps Theatre, which is almost a 500-600 seater. But Kumachechi, these two will not work because the nature of the way in which the buildings was actually, the architecture behind was totally wrong. You understand? So, and the soundman is only brought in after construction is done. And then, okay, let me measure. Okay, I've got a decay time of 6 seconds, a delay time of such and such and so. They've got standing waves in such and such a place. Subs, when you put them, you can't hear. And so all those things can actually be, you can actually deal with them prior when you involve the soundman from the very beginning.
Let me interrupt you. I had a pastor who wanted to buy a sound system. And I said, with all due respect, where are your soundmen? Those are the people that should be telling you and telling us and talking to us about your needs. No, I'm thinking about the budget. I said, your budget is affected by what your room is demanding. Bring your soundmen so that when we deliver the sound system, you don't start saying that we take up our sound yakashata because you didn't have the correct requirements. Respect your sound people, respect your technicians, and let them give you the proper advice. We own anointing, but our anointing is knowledge is sound.
And you know that I usually tell people is that nowadays church venues are ceasing to be just houses; they're becoming production houses. Because Murugita live streaming, that means the mix needs to be good, lighting needs to be good. And one person that I know and I salute right now is Hubert Angel. He built the Hippodrome, right? And I was called in and I became a consultant. You understand? I wrote a report, right? From the system to the acoustics and everything. Believe you me, they're following in that thing dot to dot. They recently finished, doing acoustics for the room. Sound has definitely changed. And the system now needs to be recalibrated. Do you understand? So I think the moment they realize that a house of worship is now Mono's big giant studio, the way in which you do things totally needs to change. And there's a lot of investment that needs to be done in terms of skill. There's a lot of investment that needs to be done in equipment. There's a lot of investment that needs to be done in research. There's a lot of investment that actually needs to be done, an investment that needs to be done to the staff itself. You understand? Because you can't have a system running on Dante and it's probably a D-Live mixer or a Yamaha Revage and everything and all those things. And nowadays microphones well, they probably they no longer use my XLR cables technology. They now use Cat5 and everything is assigned.
Yeah.
You understand? All those things need to be actually taught. And then you just take somebody, it microphones. It doesn't work that way. So I think pastors themselves, I used to do a lot of workshops around the country. And there's this hierarchy that I used to teach people. Whenever you're in a church, in a production in church, the first person of importance is always God and the Trinity. Then it's followed by the moderator for that service, which is the pastor or an elder and stuff. The third is always the sound man. My ushers, and everything, all those fall behind. Because if sound is bad, no demon will be cast out. The flow of service is different. You can't stream, you can't do nothing. You understand? And the Bible itself says, faith cometh by hearing, and hearing God, the word of God. You understand? How will they hear when the sound is bad? It just doesn't work. You understand? So sound itself is the only thing that was never created by God because it was with God. So why compromise it?
Yeah,
that's true.
Just which there's something. I wanna Nancy Timbalani.
Yeah, Timbalan.
Akapa clip kama so achitara nye mic technique. Uti vanhu ngavadzidziswe kuti achitara kuti ukadai ukasvika baba dhuze nemicrophone ukadzokera ukaita sei kuti frequency inotora yakaita sei. Ndo chimwe zvinhu ndandofunga kuti apart from just knowing my expectations, kushandisa chinhu ichi ndo basa racho. Unoda munhu anozikuchimedza ka chobuda nekuseri kwehuro achidzova futi imomo sound haisi right. Microphone yataiona iri mukanwa mako and so forth. So those are some of the then tinoyaendera kubvunza kuti nditaurawo tambo yebata yedu welfare yema-engineers kana ma-technicians kana behind the scenes crew. Vamwe vari kusikera vamwe vanogona kuita maservice kana 3 pazuva, but behind the scenes vari kusikera vachipuwa either mabhanzi nemvura kana kuti koku nemvura zuva rese pasina any other compensation. Zvakaipa here kuti maorganizations avewo nebudget yekungotaurawo kuti vanhu ngavadyewo zviri decent kana kuti vave muno culture ndakaona kuti hamuna culture yekuti ma-engineers kana behind the scenes vanoiswa pasalary. Tikutarisira man of God ari pasalary, it's expected. But muno man of God akanga aine manidzi tingwanamatira nekusupplier nekuvapa zvinhu mari inoreiswa kuti zvinhu zvavo zviita sei zviite po. Vauya kusangano vari kuparidza vari kuita manidzi avo ari fuel yake iripo, motikari yake hamubvova makanetseka kuti vachasvika motozoona anenge aripo. Engineer vari kufamba nemalifts munovatarisira kuti vauye kuchechi kugona 4 mangwanani makuseni hamuna chikafu chamuri kuvapa mvura nemabhanzi. Then at the end of the day kana shoko re-appreciation hapana, vanongonzwa nekutukwa chete. Pese vanohighlightirwa ma-mistakes avo kupfuura kugona kwavo. Toita sei ndiudziwo guys.
Let me start. Wait before this one. I need to start. You understand? Let me tell you something. In the Bible, I'll start because you're talking about church. In the Bible, when David was building the temple, he went in search for people who had skill. And they ate with the Levites in the church. You understand? So, for example, if you go to 1 Kings chapter 5, verse 6, it talks about that David went and looked for people that knew how to cut timber. You understand? And then if you go to 2 Chronicles, it talks about people that were good in cutting precious stones and iron. And then if you go to 2 Chronicles again, it talks a lot. There's a lot whereby David looked for people with specific knowledge. Do you understand? And they were in the temple day in, day out, and they were eating with the Levites. So that same thing needs to be translated to what's going on today. So why can't the sons of Jubal, who are skilled in who is the father of things, who are arts and musicians, people in the arts and serving in the thing, worship God, and all these people serving, they're also worshiping. We also need to be eat that food like that is eaten by the Levites in the church. Do you understand? And I think that's a clear-cut thing. And people usually tend to then try and over-spiritualize it. But guys, it's just Bible.
Exactly.
Stay in the Bible. Do you understand? And I'll give you an example. There's a particular pastor, I won't mention the name. He took my band members and key people in the worship team. and they open businesses around the church, those people are employed there. When there's time for service, the shops close and they get into the service. The following day, they come out. That is maybe because maybe my offerings were not enough in the church or whatever. I don't know. But at least that way, welfare, where it was taken care of. You understand? Take care of the musician. I will tell you one honest thing. Take care of the musician. Let your worship be right. Van Vasinga is the main pastor. Just like what Hillsong did. You'll be known to the ends of the world.
Thank you, man.
That's great.
Yeah. First thing when it comes to nyaya dzekubhadhara my churches, I always hear nyaya dzekunzi my missions, they're not supposed to be paid, they're serving whatever. I always say it's up to me to decide whether to do bhadharwa or not. It's not up to anybody else, because the time and effort that you put kuti unzwa kukwanisa kungomira pamberi paunochiridza gitari, it's a lot. It's I put in my own time, my own money, kana pakabviswa mari, so you don't tell me kuti unofanira kuridza mahara. It's up to me, ndini ndinozidecide. I remember the last church yandairidzira ndakawandikumbira ndiplay, ndikataudza ndega kuti I don't want to be paid because handisida kuzosungirirwa kunzi sei wanonoka sei usina kuuya kuservice because music ndokutori kubasa kwangu, saka I might not come every Sunday, saka handisida kubhadharwa because ndozopesa ndani a lot of mitemo because handisi kukwanisa kuningirina because ndokubasa kwangu futi. So it's up to me, it's not up to the pastor, it's not up to anybody else. Then number 2, don't compare me na Asha. Hapana kusina malevels. Asha munokwanisa ngopika mbuya msako apa mutoti mbuya msako mira apa muvoto Asha one, but you cannot pick anybody mcrowd kuti asikoridze guitar. This is a specialized gift. We can take 200 people tonoadzitsa kuridza pakushaya kana 1 anoridza ipapo. Because apangodiwe time chete pandane chipo chacho. So that is to be respected as well. So if I'm kana mine a plumber kana lawyer pa church pakada kugadzirwa zvinzve pakadiwa maservice ake, do you just say just do it for God? No. Muntu mukumbira first, then iye ndiye anozodecide kuti ari kukuchaja here or not. Because kana tauzonotenga zvinhu mashops, God bless you, aishande paroda mari. Ndo one problem yekuchechi. Then number 2, pane yawataura mbaki utaura kuti yawati chikunda ukangana example yawapa. Ndachida kuifananidza pane muchechi kwandakapinda so kwaitaura kuti ndandiri kustates mamiziko they were so committed, vaingoswera ungoripo pachechi wobva uzodeva vaingotsanangura commitment yemamusicians, not mentioning kuti vari kubhadharwa, because you have been to states so many times.
Under the music minister
haangobhadharwa. Saka chinoitika pakubhadharwa paibeka commitment is for sale. Ngatisanyeberane. Commitment is for sale. You don't just expect me to ndicommit muri yangu ichifana nzara. I remember I worked for Oliver Mtukudzi. Nozoti kana paine band rinoona wanga vari committed, iband raOliver Mtukudzi. Why? He used to pay. Everybody, you couldn't wait to go kubasa. Because for the first time nozoti love is a doing word. It's not just a word. I need to see the love. I love you very much. You are my son. My son, uchindura ine nzara. Commitment is for sale. So just because I bhadharaka munhu wese waitosvika time dziripo, hapana munhu aiudzwa nozoti tukuivhini pataibuda kunze kwenyika ndoshamisika mabhendi vanotorwa mapassport kunze vangazotize vapiwa mutemo unzi you're not supposed to work with anybody else. Took it in mind kuti vanoridzana. Many times panoenda kuuk ndaitotanga tonoproducer maartist nchitonoridza mastudio. He didn't care because aizoti akati soundcheck inguva dzakati munhu wese is there because we are getting paid and mari chiri kunakidza enda pane munhu aimbobuda mbindi manga ikoko waitotsvaga kuti ndingaite sei kuti ndibude mbindi. Number 2 angasingatyise bhusa uya mune mutori mese aitoramba kufamba neyake mota maitofamba muri musame car. Saka chimwe chinhu chinonetsa kumachechi word rekuti love is very fake. Of course it's true that tiri kurarama in a capitalist society because word rekuti love harimo, mune mainterests zvangofanira politics. Havasi kuda iwe vari kuda zvavanokwanisa kuvaitira. But kuchechi I think kuti zvinozoita opposite manje pakuti many times ndambozvitaura parufu rwaZex Manadzi kuti many times taiti pandakamboshanda muchechi neni, even vanhu vachiziva kuti mukadzi wangu ari muhospital hapana paimbonzi ko vamuka sei ngonzi right maspeakers agadziriswa here anga akafaya. So what you are saying kuti nyaya yekuratidzwa rudoka I think the church really needs to wake up because in a lot of my wounds we are through that, through chirungorangarirwa is the duty that I'm supposed to do, but not the welfare yangu. One and we love you. The other time I remember ndatopedza basa ikoko ndatadza kufara ndambotsanangura kusafara kubhozi nii chandakanakira kandi sina kufara ndotaura handinyarara ndikuwarire mukati. I believe in speaking out. I don't believe kunzanzi kunyarara kunokunda zvose. I believe kuti kutaura ndokunokunda zvose. Ona so ndaigara ndichitaura kuti I'm not happy with the money. Chingonzi ukanamata inoshanda, let me be honest, ndakanamata haina kushanda. Ndinoona kuti money is a practical thing, it's not spiritual. Ndipe mari yangu. Ona saka
ndakazoti money answers all things.
Maona manje ndanyimwa mari daro vandabuda life vayambooma bhozi ndansina mari vanatozojingisawo mari vandayazoiwana time ndakunzi ndakudiwa back ndakunzi we love you very much ndati no pandaida love ndipaya amunondipa. I was very open about it. So I think to sum it up, commitment is for sale. Number one. Number two, it's up to me kuti ndodaridza mahara here kaunti ndoda kubhadharwa. Don't force it on munhu. And number three, kana muda kuti zvinhu zvinatsorana smooth batai vanhu bowo nekubata vanhu mushi.
And ipapo ndinotaura something imenyaya kuti ndinasagwira wangu mukoma Fred vari pakamera zvavo izvinezvi. We've done many events together. We've done those events together. We've hosted my international, so-called international artists, Andrew, my gospel, Andrew. Vese vanokutaura pane requirements contract inenge yanyorwa kubva kwekutanga ine mapedm kuti vachisvika kuno vanotaza kuti mari dzavo dzinobhadhara vasatombosumuka kubva kunze kwenyika vachiuya muno kuti band member akati nakati anofanira kubhadharwa ipapo vanenge mazuva avo yanga inzi $35 per day.
Minimum is 20.
Maona manje pazuva nezuva number of people vari muband and
vanotipiwa paairport in most cases.
And avakwire pastage ndikutaura worship concert avakwire pastage mari yavo yese isati yabhadharwa. Hatinoda kuti mbonyemerana pa imo mozopinda mozosumudza maoko muchiti mukurumbidza Mwari. Pane somebody ari behind the scenes ari kumeka sure kuti the practicals achewa presence yaMwari yakazoburuka, presence yaMwari yakazoita sei, because somebody paid the costs of hosting that event. And costs wayo tikutaura kuti bozi chimbofunga afamba kuenda kwese kunze kwandro odzokera kwaari kubva kunyika achitotsanangurira mukadzi wake nevana vake kuti takamira tichiti kumbodzwa nyaya dzemari yakati havadi nyaya dzese idzodzo. Vanongoda kuti zvinhu zvavo zvese zviita sei zvibhadharwe zvigadziriswe, because chinoitika nchekuti event yapera Tommy une kuru yako kuru ichamira nevo vanhu vese vanenge vaenda mudzimba macho vakwira motikadzi dzavo vaita sei vaenda kuru yamira yakungotendera mvenyu because ameno kuti tinofamba sei because
disrespect yamabata ihombe pane ichiyamboitika une mecheche kumfakosi pane ichiyamboitika ucheche kumfakosi. Saka yanga iri anonzi maweek anonzi revival inenge ichiitwa during the week here. Yatanga ndofika Thursday. I don't remember the details very well. Then MC azongotaura pamicrophone zvikanzi inowati zvemagitara zviendese kudenga zvidzimai tishandise maoko edu, vatuka vanhu vesound, vatuka vanhu vemagitari. Ende unoza chinonisa ndipoti iwo une mic ine hana mic handikwanisa kupindura ndiwe superstar. So kumana magitari bvangu so magitari chechi yese vairova 10 strings chichi vanzi nhasi hatisi kuningirina because hazviendese kudenga izvi todana so 10 strings. Saka mangwana vavauya munhu wese ari fired up kuti tiri kuningirina yasaturday bvona hapana pay system. Wakomana magitari akati izvi hazviendese kudenga izvi tati tiite chi 10 strings tiite zvinoendesa kudenga. Saka musosati yanga iri 10 strings kuti pwa musoi Sunday mufundisi wacho aita kakuchikwa so everybody thought kuti mufundisi wakasvika zvese bo ngosvika musoi Sunday kuti vanhu vese vari kuexpecta ndingoona kumberi kwakachena kuti mbureted hakuna kana speaker hakuna kana gitari hakuna ko boys wamwe wacho tononoka kuya magitari nzano tangoti tiite chi zvinoendesa kudenga. Saka munhu wamwari pakazoya manje pakabata microphone ndauti pakabata chiexpect kubata mic vhona hapana Atuko zvamira sei wakomana manye munoningira bvona wakomana wakaita sei respectfully wangochikora ndopaona kuti ndofunga pane something chakaita sei bvazo ngatitaure vazotora paside zvanzi kwakomana mainstruments bvatsanangura kuti we have disrespected in front of our wives and children janenjani chichi saka we are not happy about it ona zvikanzi alright asura wakomana zvanzi no zvakakanganiswa pamberi pevanhu zvofanira kugadziswa futi chi pamberi pevanhu sa munhu mwari akazoya vazoti tinokumbira uregero kwawakomana wedu wemagitari newakomana wedu wesaundi pane mashoko akataurika chichichichichichi wakomana bva wazongoti apology accept ndopawazotanga kutakura chi zvinhu but I think that was a very good best play wedu mwe watambotaura he was part of the if you ask him he will tell you I think that was a very good lesson because we are human beings because I remember pane mamwe kuti anenge ada kuti nhasi zvizivikanwa kuti nhasi ari fired up anofanira kutoshaudha munhu and I don't know where that doctrine came from ikana yekunzi mavhangeri anongotuka vanhu but I didn't see it mbebonzi kana munhu ari muvhangeri anotaura zvaanoda anogona kutuka munhu just because muvhangeri kaunti ndiprophet I'm a human being with feelings ona ndosaka ndo one reason why I remember you once told me kuti you wanted to teach me sound kwakudhara that's one of the reasons why ndakaramba because I don't think I will have the patience dzekutukwa pasound because to be honest with you ladies and gentlemen ndinozvidzima kuti ndiri panikipaipa wotanga kuti njani ndinozvidzima that's me ona so I think we need to respect kuti vanhu they are human beings with emotions and I'm sure kuti vakateerera vese vari kuzvibata
right mono mataura nyaya yedisrespect inini ndirautaura two main incidents I will hope to hear from you guys two main incidents one yakaitika Marara Gardens other one yakaitika muchurch because kana uchinge wakuita uri behind the scenes kana uri kuita basa hausi kuonekwa semunhu uri kuonekwa seproperty uri kuonekwa setool isinganete kana ine mafeelings kana nechi tiri kuita event muHarare Gardens mamine ndingati vanhu 1500 about 1500 people vanga varipo pana artist angafanira anga ari pastage na3 o'clock panguva iyoyo na3 o'clock iyoyo ndobva tanzi artist hakuna vafoniwa artist ari kumasvingo ndobva vatsvaka zvekufanira vanhu vari munhu vanhu vari kuridziswa pari kunzi DJ munhu ari kuendeka flash drive kake ujipekera apa ndiutsvagirawo song uchichichichi and so forth.
Oh, it was a secular music gig.
You knew on a secular music gig. Chichi vadaro. Artists azosvika manje na 5 o'clock. Ari 2 hours late pa stage paipa. Achingosvika artist uya anozikana nembiri yekuti kana achinga kwira pa stage backdrop rese rinozara vanhu vake. Vasiri muband. Angoti gakana. Achingosvika chete. Vangodaidzira engineer ndakaenda. Nyeba ndivandadzima zvinhu zvese takadzima microphone yake first ndoandaisa on yangu inini ndogara nemicrophone yangu kuside kumix vandamuti pamusoro emcom vanhu isi vachinzwa because zvaitikira pamberi pevanhu vandati aya ndokumbirawo kuti tiite zvinhu zvistandard panapa hamuna kuuya kusound check hamuna kana line check chai kana chichi havana rehearsal kana atitozivi kuti mabva nekupi manga muri kumasvingo because tiri kumubvunza katinoziva kunoko makwira muri kubva mumotikari menyu 2 hours late moda kuti tiitenge tiri for microphone yamaenda haisiri yenyu chichi hamuna kana kuita sound check saka ndokumbira kuti mumbotizivi chekutanga ndoti mubvisire vanhu pastage vese vasiri muband kana musina kubvisa vanhu pastage handisi kuisa on zvinhu ndikutodzima ndakatodzima soye zvinezvi ndamuda kupwanya muchapwanya zvinhu but handisi kutora mamistakes ako kuti atiendese tiine zita rakanyangara isusu vanhu ngavadzidze kuti hauna kuya kusound check vanhu vaburuka vadzika vaenda kuzasi kwegenerator akati ibvai kuseri kwegenerator ikoko mozi muchatsika matambo emagetsi zvose zvinhu zveyazvire nemozi mukutsika matambo emagetsi kana mabvisa vanhu venyu vese vaenda kunzvimbo dzavo kuaudience then tichabvumidza kuti zvinhu zviita sei zvirire ndobvati saka ndoita sendikati ochimira ipapapo ndikutanga nemicrophone yako saka ndandakasaina machi kuti mamonitors kuti monitor iri kuenda kwakati ndati microphone yako yekutanga ndatodzima kufanira ndikuto ndachitaura 1 2 1 2 akutaura ndati ukinzwa ile microphone but ndakuendesa sound rako kune imwe mic kune amwe speaker iri rako monitor rako iri kudaro kusvika tapedza kati next backing vocals next hi-hats next kick drum ndibva takusvika tapedza line check yedu chitanga kuridza tinzomunzwa ine balance imomo front of house haisi kurira ndakadzima ndini ndiri kunzika ndika front of house because I had to take control washona ndichiridza manje uri kunzwa here bass monitor mako ndotumidzira uri kunzwa here chako mafara here manje zvabonde kati kana mafara mosumudza zvoko vanhu isi vachiona kuti makufara because ndikuzva kuti kusana kuno zvakamira sakaita sei washona manje tatadaro manje paipai vandazochiti ndasumudza front of house paitanga kurira oh thank you ndikati next time yakona kudaidzira kuti engineer motumidza mazita akanyanga the second incident yakaitika nechurch tabva muita conference ndibva ndatumidzirwa entourage yemapastors nevanhu vemufinance vakauya panapa zvakatanzi dhiziri radiro rataisa mugenerator hatizoti rakashanda sei ndikati saka first mukuti ati maengineers angu akaba dhiziri renyu ndibva ndati hamuna kuabhadhana vanhu venyu havana kuita soundcheck havana kana nhuisawo makati pavanhu vamaiti vanofanira kudzidza kushandisa nezvakati havana kana hwana akauya zvakanzi ndikati inini ndikutaura chokwadi kana muda kutanga kundinyebera pangu right now tikutomisa nyaya iye zvinezvi zvakanzi hatisi kunyeba watanga kuda kunyeba nevana kuti ndokumbirawo one thing mauya kumba kwangu zvakaitika panapa mauya kumba kwangu makutanga kundinyebera mumba mangu vandasumuka ndandafura kuti ndikati budai mumba mangu right now makubuda ndikati muri mafundisi makuya kutanga kunyeba nezvinhu dzidzisai vanhu venyu kuti vaita sei vadzidze zvinhu nemaprotocols ekuti sound inoshanda yakadai so sound check inoitwa yakadai so musadefenda inefficiency muchida kuipa zita rekuti preparation tinofamba nespontaneity yeimwe yamutsvene wamwari and so forth. Lack of preparation iyaya haina kunaka but tinozonge panzanzi the spirit yazongopindira yaita spontaneous and so forth. Ndikati no ndokumbira kuti musadaro dzidzisai vanhu iyo disrespect iyo yakanyangara kwazvo tinoisangana nayo.
Patikaenda imwe church iri Easter conference rimwe gore so patatora nguva kuseta PA system. I'm sure you still remember. Tapedza kuseta tautoti zvinhu zvese zvapo toda relax pasvika mwe elders kwanzi right mufundisi wangu anopinda neapa saka muvha izvinhu apa tatopedza kuseta but nguva icho kwanzi aiwa but no authority but muvha but aningirina vapava a different person kuti ari kuratidza futi authority kwanzi right president ship yangu inopinda neapa pasaka pamesa president yamutauraka it takes time kwanzi no visa tapedza ndopakazoya which 3 foot ndopakazoti right who is in charge this seems like anybody can come up akaisa roko momu I remember
all right before I just share my point, I just want to share a certain disclaimer. Dear pastors, if you're watching this, we are not coming after you. Yes. We are just addressing unsaid issues.
Yes.
These are conversations that need to be had.
Yes.
You understand? The technical people probably they don't have the guts to be saying these things to you, but we are simply representing them and saying these things need to be done the right way. God is a God of order. You know, when Jesus was feeding people before he fed, he said he made them sit in groups of 50, of 100 and everything. This was before the spiritual aspect.
Yeah.
So get the technical things right first for the spirit to then move. Is that okay? So I just thought I should mention that. We are not after you. We are after some behavioral tendencies that are not good. Is that okay?
Thank you.
Yeah. So I think with the issue of disrespect, I think respect is a two-way thing. You respect me, I will respect you. You don't talk behind me behind my back. I'll also not talk to you behind. It's just how it is. You understand? And I'll give you an example. I think I experienced quite a number of disrespect, things in my life. But there is one particular one where I really felt disrespected. Right, I'm a good sound engineer. And then don't replace her. And I'm really good. And I don't need, there's no prophecy that can. You understand? I'm a good sound engineer.
Okay. We know that.
All jokes aside.
That's why you're here.
Yeah. Right. There was I won't mention names. There was an instance whereby a popular man of God came to visit Zimbabwe. And when he came, preparation was done. You know how, us in how people are like in houses of worship, that when they have a guest, the amount of preparation that takes place. So the technical people also had to make preparations. So there I was the most qualified to do so. And what did I do? I remember, about 3-4 days drawing up the national the specifications document, right? And then even had the chance to go to the venue because I knew some people, and did my measurements, did my analysis, and I used my, there's a software called Ease Focus that helps you predict behavioral patterns of speakers, and where you can then be able to align them shoot them for power, dispersion, etc. So I did all those calculations, took snapshots, put them on the document, then put notes for your delay speakers. This one should be here and such a thing, and the delay time, everything was actually in order. Then I put a small little keys. It's called a key, right?
Yeah.
That you think. So if it's this such and such a system,
point,
reference point. If you've got such a system, for this to work, you need this and system. If you use another system, drop the distance by so much. If the lapel is exposed, make sure the delay time of this P system is like this, raise it to such, and everything. I calculated everything together, the stakes and the delays which are on the ground. And guess what happened? After I submitted the document, that was the end of me.
Wow.
Okay.
And then
Did you die or what?
I didn't die. I was just cut out of the equation.
Oh, okay.
And the document, now little did they know that the service providers that came to do the event, I'd once worked with them.
Yeah.
You understand? In Botswana, right? And also in South Africa. So I come and then, okay, and there's a person who did a document. It's really specific. It was done very well. I was like, I'm the one who did that. I'm like, oh, isn't? All right. And then everything. And then now this, our overflows and everything were local providers. Wow. You understand? And to the people that had negotiated a very ridiculously fair price, you understand? They decided to go and do things because, I don't know where they thought I had a kickback or anything. Yeah. And they quoted more than that, and they paid the money. Yeah. And the information then came back to you. Yeah, circled back to me, and then I was told. In the back of my mind, I say, my guy, I charged $2 for this, but whoever took this document went and made them pay $10 for this. I'm worried about disrespect, so I say, that hurt me quite a lot. There's no greater thing, and disrespect like that. But I won't get into the thereafters. But I ceased my services, and that was it. Yeah. And that affected how I worshipped. I don't go to church because instead of me listening to the word, I'm now judging people, which is not right.
So it's trauma.
Yes, PTSD. Because I grew up in church. Yeah. You understand? And I knew, because I had so much exposure in the world, and I knew what needed to be corrected in the house of worship and how things were supposed to be done. And then you get backslapped. It doesn't sit well. And Mono was rightfully saying he actually got hurt because of something. So many people are not in church, not because of maybe where this is a risk of farm of anything, because of treatment. The greatest sermon is your actions.
They say that the only army in the world that is known to shoot its wounded is the church. The army of God.
Yeah. Because I even told somebody with because I no longer come to church, you're not doing Jesus a favor.
Yes.
Was according to him, you're supposed to leave everybody. But instead you're making it worse.
Yeah, and Jesus is the only one who doesn't say goodbye to everyone who comes to them. You understand?
Just a question, buddy. Are you not going forward? I'm sure it was a learning process. So going forward, do you think we're supposed to charge for speccing things before they engage you? It's like for me, people come say, write me a script before they actually say that you shoot the thing. And then you have to charge for that before.
Actually, as a principle, I think you should charge per stage. Okay. Do you understand? Just like in construction. For sightseeing, you pay something. Foundation, you pay something. And all those things you pay. So I feel that this is because, for example, take my experience as an example. You spend 3 days and sleepless nights and research on doing something only for you not to be compensated, not with even a thank you. Do you understand? Yeah. So ndipo mari yangu ndikuitire basa rako, find the executioner, somebody who's going to be a service provider, but not pay me. Do you understand what I'm saying?
Intellectual property.
Yeah, that's intellectual property. You understand? And there was a school that I'll not think, but I'll tell you the person. The person is your brother. Yeah, some, I won't tell you which one. And they sent me, can you please design, want to change our hall and put together with the studio so that when you do events, everything is recorded and everything. And I said, okay, guys, what I'm going to design here, because I'd learned, is IP. Okay, here's a contract. That was the end of me.
Wow. So
I'm telling you,
the same thing.
Yeah.
You know this commonly told story.
Yep.
About the guy who was called into a workshop, a big machine was not working, and he said, okay, they said, and he just took a small hammer, and he went into one spot, and they just, boom, just knocked it out. They asked him, okay, what's the charge? He says, I'm charging you $5 for the strike, but I'm going to charge you $50,000 for knowing where to strike.
Yes. Yes.
So
Yep.
that script,
Yep.
you're putting it together.
Exactly.
Because without a storyboard, my son is a filmmaker.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I've seen him writing and drawing little funny things that have no shapes. I don't understand them, but he's putting together that thing in here before you see it on the screen.
Yep.
So I respect his process. Without that process, he says, I'm going, he takes his laptop bag and whatever, and he goes, and he's putting it all together on paper or whatever, on the computer and everything. That process is very important. So when somebody asks you to write a script, because they're asking, they say, we are not creative enough, but we need your creativity before we can put it into my physical.
They're charging for the
time.
Yeah,
because I'm also seeing it even for corporates like ZIT, if I can name ZIT. Yeah. When they're asking for like a design for a booth, when you're still in the proposal stage, they say, send us the quotation and the design of what you're going to.
And they pay.
Yeah, they don't pay. Yeah, you just send the quotation and the design.
Yeah.
And then they maybe that design is used by someone else. Yeah. And it's actually a trick.
And I did that with the Zimbabwe Republic Police. I can mention them.
Okay.
I was doing a lot of their pass-out parades. So the band was playing out in the open.
Okay.
Zuva riri kungorova, and the band is ndataura na Commissioner General. Ndikati, why is the band playing vakagara muzuva? My strings are kurohwa nezuva. My speakers, my amps, my keyboard, ukabata so inenge ichita kupisa, my cymbals, my drums, unozaka zvimadhishika zvezvo ngochibata so chinge chipisa. Ndakati zvikanzi saka vakomana vanenge vachityha kutaura kabozi kune hierarchy. Ndikati ini ndiri civilian, handina hongu ndinorespekta office yavo, but handipinde nemachannels and ndangoti mukuru ndine nyaya yandataura nemi. Ndikanzi inchii? Ndikati ndokumbira kuti muvakira vakomana washed pachigreen square paya pane shed iripo yakavakwa ipapo. Ndindakavakisa ndataura navo ndikati vakaenda ndataura naDepo komana ndavakira vakomana washed. Ndobva wadzokera ndobva waenda kunoita kundabazi ndina kubulawayo vakomana vakuridza vari mumvuri vari makuseni mapractice vakomana ndivari kungoridza mapass out parade aendwa mapractice 4 or 5 days. Pane bachuya vakuru venyika, pane bachuya president, hakusi kunyepa. Handichere vagadzirira chishedi pozivanonozuva apa achibva kunofora vanenge vachingofenda. Ndikati vagadzirira vakavagadzirira, but what happened is ndakati zvakanzi saka tetese ndikati apa sinzi mune mabasa mamavoni kundipa handisi kukuchajai for that pfungwa iyoyo, but hazvidi pfungwa dzakawanda papa. Ngovagadzirirawo kushedi kana kuheroes vairidza ndikati kokungovaisirawo kana chitende or something chekungoto zvino mabhozho vanenge vachiridza magitari vanenge vachiridza. Take care of your mahorses enyama muri kushandisa ivayo anorarama nguva yakareba.
Yeah, and also on a technical aspect is temperature plays a critical role as to how sound is dispersed and tech equipment behaves. It does a lot.
Mastrings ekitaja kukapisa anostretcha kukatonhora. Saka you need a place iri well controlled.
So pfungwa dzako dzavari kunyora ipapo dzakakosha. Just to come back to your point. So vari kunze uko varidzi vemaevent pamunokumbira matechnicians enyu nevamwese kuti vakompensatewo for the time yavari kuspenda iyoyo, because havasi kurara vachitonyora. Vamwe munowanzi itai training vachitraina vanhu, but kuti vaite training yemamaterials iwayo avari kunyora pasi vozoyaonikira zvinhu zvotanga kuchinja. But appreciate inga bhaibheri racho ndanzi don't muzzle the ox that treads out the corn. Respect them. Just basic respect chete. Tine vana adzimai angu anoti tine vana vari kuchengetwa nebasa ramuri kuita iroro. Saka you have to learn to be unpopular nevanhu uchitaura chokwadi. Kuchaja is not a sin.
It's not a sin.
Yeah, please.
But still psychological, that psychological trick they make you feel so guilty for charging kana kubvunza mari yako. Unotanga kuzwa mamashuka kuti unotoenda kuti Mwari ndiregerera, I've sinned against you because ndangobvunza kuti mari. So I think that needs to be,
especially when I'm pretty young. My passion. So because now I used to play for a mega church, which ended up having 4 services every Sunday. So I did mine between the 2 different buildings, between the 2 buildings every Sunday. This got bad, I'm gonna say. And also the midweek service, also changing my practice twice a week. And there was
actually young at times we become vulnerable. Because I remember my son akambena unoridza pane place vera makuseni kusvika manheru and akasvika eleka birthday to do something. He was still new in industry, so I was trying to teach him how to speak out and everything. So ndakazomupika zuva rodoka auti ndine nzara, ndati what une nzara uongo achiningira unoziva kutena unoita mamotikari mufiri mkwekwe ndokuenda pandodzokera panounganidza maelder acho ese ndati saka imimi uyu aswera achiridza panapa hapana kana chikafu chamupa, asi mvhangeri tondori anga akagara pachikotsira haana kana mboparidza asi ndewamapa chikafu hamso ndakapopota. So to me it was a lesson to my son kuti anzwisise, but I'm able to nezvaachangamuka
pane nyaya yatakamboitwa hatisati atombosvika kune mberi kuti I think you guys need to come back again tikuzoendera mberi nemamwe maaspects, but nyaya yatautaura one takamboita conference imwe kereke huru kwazvo paHICC, Harare International Conference Center. Taiva nekuru yedu vana mukoma Fred, vana mukoma Tawanda nechichi takazara ndumwe pari kuparidza pakatanga testimony yakaita 3 hours. Apa vanhu vakakirwa madhonzi havakwanisi kubuda, havakwanisi kufamba pa amude kana mufundisi achiri pakati pekutaura.
Saka inenge instruction yemweya
yatobva kuno munhu but
mweya wacho unozoita kuti vanhu vasapreswe here,
inopackage sacho kuti unotodza kuti ndimwari, that says the Lord. Saka kana yakanzi that says the Lord hapana kwamunoenda munopagara ipapo. Saka pastor ndivazotanga kuparidza vakarova Simon. Saka isusu tiri kurekodha akapa mazuva efuti atiri kurekodha madvd nekurekodha matepe anopera kuti makaridza palong play ngetichipera tape munhu achiri kuparidza muchienda achideso tafanati vatangoti mukoma neni handichataura zita rabokoza vari padhuze matano tokumbirawo mutaurira mukomana ari pavision mixer pamashotsi makameramen ese ndati ataura mukomskit ndati tokumbirawo kuti mutore mavhidhiyo evanhu vese vakakotsira ndo atinoda kuisa pascreen kuti vanhu vaone ndikutaura chokwadi pamberi pamwari chikwadi kuti ndionai zvamuri kuita kune vanhu, because kana munhu ane fatiga hachisina chaachanzwa isi. Saka masimoni ayaka takatanga kukanda maskirini vachiona zvakanzi ko muri kuita sei, ndikati because hapana achiri kukunzwai, muri kungoparidza yenyu makuparidzai, muri kuzviparidzira mega.
But I wonder why kuti same mweya achioperator differently kuvanhu vatema nevarungu. I wonder why mweya achidaro.
Okay, so I think what I just wanted to say in conclusion is that the problem is nowadays everything is a production. Concentration span has literally dropped to even as 3 seconds. TikTok first 3 seconds swipe. You understand what I'm saying? Yeah. So it does not make anybody in any circumstance, whether in a concert or in a house of worship, any different at all. Right? There is I won't mention the name of the church. I like the fact that they once approached me who act as a producer and a director of our service. That person will have a comms kit, we can asha nemun wese. Do you understand? And time is time. Patron clock yakatarisa stage. Do you understand? And praise and worship, it's 5 minutes, it's going to be 5 minutes. If it's going to be thing, it's going to be thing, because you're running a production. You understand? That is order. And Jesus bye bye.
Izayoja kubrayside ndara gutangu tarati from now on wanzi kachaya whether you're a leader, no one should stop you. Because vanguanzwa niye kuti yekukiwa kwamadozi yanga yakuitwa kuti pane mafundisi mamaike madozi nemamaservice
chakaikirwa kakawanda uchita sound aude
adondibvisa panapa ndiani ane mari yakawanda ndiani time dzogosvika na 2 o'clock apa sati patanga kuparidzwa then munhu ada kusunga mamanzi amusunga pachiri kuparidzwa kana mudhara kuti no time dzatakurarama idzi dza different munhu ada kutonoona bhora isinoti sing seyabude saka pangoiswa that law I was so happy pesi pavaingofurikidza time ndaipeka gitari ndakagara mberi koko ende zvataurwa nemukuru wechizunzi munhu hamiswi ndaipeka gitari ndiri kumberi kwaoneka ndobuda.
Thomas, takakirwa isusu masoundmen paakweti complex uchitungisa mubude mufundisi akazopedza service kuparidza na 3 am vanhu vanzwa nekukotsera tiri kuti tinoda kuremekedza service, tinoda kuremekedza kufamba kuri kuita Mwari, tinoda kuremekedza the sanctity of the event, but you must be time conscious. Event kana ichinzi 10 o'clock ngaitanga nenguai na 10 o'clock, kana ichipena na 11 o'clock yopena ichi na 11. Makereke ngatisapedze nguva tichimhore sana. My greetings anotora about 60 minutes 1 hour yesavana
ana maizi munhu kana urinyanyoda title hapana zvauri kuita because ukatasa vanhu vese vakaita zvinhu zvikuru vamwe vanongozikanwa nefirst name Socrates hapanzi Mr. Socrates, Dr. Socrates unonzi Socrates Jesu panonzi Jesu akati apambonzi mwanakomana womwari akazodayo professor doctor ningirini hanzi ukaona uchiruda mazititles hapana zvauri kuita uzi kune maapostles asina kana chechi 1 poita mabishop asina kana mafundisi ari pasi
pane inonzi form of godliness without the power. People are compensating for lack of power with formalities.
That's true.
Yeah, but anyway, my pizza statement so let everything let it be structured, let everything be time conscious. I like the fact that Mambota or Papa and you said, my tapes and everything. I found all these things hit up, my machines and everything and stuff like that. And I think that the moment you show a certain sense of order, a certain sense of respect, and you have a certain sense of culture that you cultivate, and people begin to know, not only in churches. I know I've diverted a lot to the churches, right, because they're the consumers of audiovisual more than anybody at this time of our lives, right? But in at the moment they see a certain order and a certain culture, just like Events Evolution, HICC, you need to book the whole week and you book their rooms there. Do you understand? Yeah. Everybody now knows that. Kanawachita gig, Maria so I won't mention figures, but that's how they've pegged themselves. So they have a culture that now follows them. You understand? Yeah. The moment we do that, Tichi tells us there's a certain respect that the people also begin to give us. And it's easy to charge Maria Wada because they see a certain sense of order. You'll be surprised that sometimes people in the industry are not necessarily hired or get more events because of what they know, but because of etiquette. Yeah. Do you understand? For example, I'll give you an example. Let's say Mono, who is on the table here. He may not be the best Zim dance or producer or the best dance or mixing engineer or whatever, but people flock to him because he says if you record today, in less than a week, your music will be out. Yeah. People go after that. Yeah. Do you understand? They're willing to, in quotes, compromise certain aspects because of efficiency. Yeah. And efficiency is the umbrella term that you get for respect, for people, your word having gravity and quite a lot of things. Yeah. You understand? So, and just in short, I think that TSA beat, if you're listening to under my sound of my voice, I raise my hands, right? Treat people the way you want them to treat you. Yeah. Period.
Okay. Thank you. So what I'm going to do is, by way of conclusion for this particular segment, I'm going to address the people, everybody who is watching. I would like to encourage you to take everything that has been spoken of in this particular segment, in this particular episode. These are not by any chance or any way intended to be personal attacks on anyone, but it's a way of trying to encourage you to move away from a bad culture. A bad culture is a bad culture. If you want excellency, don't make excuses for your bad practices. We want to help you. We would like to be able to help you. All these people that are here and more that are going to be coming. And these are going to come back again. So feel free to be able to send your messages and send your your questions. And we would love to be able to get together with you and train people and sit together with people. These things that we are saying here are practical. These are real things. Your sound engineers in your organization, in your churches, your crew might not be having enough courage to tell you face to face because they fear you. But we want to encourage you to listen to these people that are sitting at this table. We're speaking on behalf of them because they have things that they want to communicate with you, but sometimes they don't have channels to speak to you because they respect your office. But we want to encourage you. We would like to be able to help you to raise the level of excellency. And to be able to do that, like Mono said last week, when he says, sometimes we want to say we are Pan-Africanists and we refuse to face things that are there. We cannot change things if we don't face them. If we don't face the reality, if we don't face our weaknesses, we cannot change. So some things that we said might actually trigger some little bit of feelings in your area, but Bob Marley said that who the cap fits, let him wear it. So there's no way. So we will not compromise for things that might have, triggered you the wrong way because we want to help you. So swallow it and chew and swallow and get some areas of improvement going. Thank you so much. And Baki, thank you. Thomas, thank you. Mono, thank you. And thank you to our crew that is behind the scenes right now. But we will come back because we barely went past the first page. We have got a lot of things to do. We've got lighting to cover. We've got video to cover. We've got screens to cover. We've got security to cover. Those are the things that make your event go. So one more thing, pastors and leaders and whatever organizations, you have a lot of wounded people in your crew. They just don't tell you. They are wounded. They wish that you could hear these things. And we don't want that to continue. The culture that we have is we ignore things and just move on. For your event to be successful, you need soldiers that are people that are well in their soul, in their emotions, in their spirit. And they take care of them, and your event will go well. Thank you so much. And I will clap.